Work session of March the 13th in preparation for our recess meeting of March the 17th. And while we're at it, I'm going to make note that this is a 5 Tuesday month, which means that we are going to have, our next meeting won't be until April, and that is post Good Friday. That's after Good Friday, so I want to make the announcement that we won't have a work session on the Good Friday prior to the next board meeting. And also that Mr. Smiley is instituting a slightly different pickup. So we want to keep in mind that the citywide pickup will be Thursday prior to the Good Friday. And so we're going to see how that works. So if your neighbors and friends ask you, we'll put it out on social, but if your neighbors and friends ask you, it will be a citywide pickup on that Thursday prior to the Good Friday holiday. So we'll just, let our folks know so we can be prepared. And while I'm at it, let's remember that we are still voting for the best small town in the South, the USA Today deal, and we are currently sitting at #1. And so I encourage everyone to continue to vote. You can vote using your phone and your computer and your personal computer, and you can vote daily. So please feel free to do so and encourage your friends.
And if you have multiple emails.
I'm sorry?
Multiple emails work too, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so it was voting, but all right, anyway. So we'll take that into account because we are currently sitting at #1, and so having that 3 years in a row would be an amazing achievement. So, all right, having said that, one of the things that I have asked to be done for our work session today is an update on our existing grants. And if we recall, after our last board meeting, we had a discussion about the CDBG grant, and lo and behold, if next day I didn't get a letter from the governor saying that our CDBG grant had been approved. And so Ms. Benson, bless her heart, is kind enough to come and give us a little bit of an update on that and exactly what that means. So I'm going to let the floor be yours, Phyllis, and I'm going to try to keep my talking down to a minimum unless I'm unable to do any whatsoever. So.
Well, good morning. I will let you know that I have worked with Public Utilities to pull a PowerPoint presentation together. So I'm going to give just a brief overview on that project specifically. It's been a long time coming. You know, over the years, I've worked with the city in trying to take sewer into areas that weren't currently being served, and those include, oh golly, if I think back to Rock Hill, Roundhouse, Bluefield,
Babylon.
Exactly, Babylon. We're slowly but surely whittling away at the outskirts of the city, which have now been taken in. And we are now at Sand Road and Henderson Road. I've submitted that application 2 times, and unfortunately last year it scored enough points to be funded. However, due to some unfortunate problems with your audit, not being big problems, just timely completion, it kicked your application out. So we geared up and backed up and ran again with it. And this year, it received a second site visit. The state of Mississippi recognizes that this project fits HUD's mold exactly. The people of that area will receive a new sewer collection system because of the low to moderate income requirements of the program. Those people will be hooked up at no charge. That doesn't mean they're not going to have a monthly sewer bill. It means that the grant requires anyone of a certain income to be hooked up at no charge. We will take a service line from the trunk line to their house and actually hook it up, so that they don't experience any additional financial hardships. I'm fortunate that I've always had a home that was hooked up to city sewer, and I didn't know the hardships of dealing with a septic tank, especially a septic tank in a low-lying area that stays continuously wet. So these people are very deserving. We are pedaling that bicycle just as quick as we can. I'm glad that the award notice came in when it did. I wish that it could have been a little bit sooner, but unfortunately, the Mississippi Development Authority is running it just a little bit behind. I've started the environmental review process. I've been working with the Starkville, Oktibbeha County School District to make sure that all of the deeds in that area are current. This is 16th section property, and it is going to throw another monkey wrench in there for us to work with, but hey, but the vice mayor and I have worked all the way around this city, and we'll get through this one too. So are there any specific questions that you have?
Thank you very much. Did you say that the hookup will be free?
That we will run a service line from the house, from the trunk line to their house. We will actually physically hook into their house. The grant requires that take place.
There will still be a monthly bill.
Right. They won't be exempt from a monthly sewer fee. And we tried to explain this whenever we've had several public meetings in the project area. The church was gracious enough to allow us to conduct the meeting there. But it's been the same way on all of the projects. If they met the income requirements of HUD, it's not my income requirements or the state of Mississippi's, it is HUD. Because every year Congress appropriates money to the different federal, not organizations.
Programs?
Right, the federal program, sorry. Yeah, Vice Mayor and I were just talking about how long I've done this, and it's showing now, obviously, but they appropriate money to the different federal agencies. It's then distributed among the states utilizing a formula. The state of Mississippi receives about $25 million annually, which is a lot of money in Phyllis's bank account. But unfortunately, when you think that every local unit of government, that being county or municipality, that meets the minimum threshold requirement, $25 million is just a drop in the bucket. So it's a highly competitive process. We try to structure those applications so that it best meets the need of the people in the community. But we follow HUD's guidelines, and I brought manuals to show you that there are rules and regulations, and that if anyone wants to attend the upcoming implementation workshop, it's in about a week and a half. It will be conducted in Pearl, and I'll be glad to get you information about that. Our office will be attending, and they are requiring that the city of Starkville, as a grant recipient, send someone to that meeting in addition to me. So,
We will
but-
have someone there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, appreciate all that you've done. 27 years is a long time. I know you've been doing it way longer than that. But I'm sure the people down on San Road and Huntsville appreciate it very much. But still, I think it'd be very neat for us to set up a call, town hall meeting with them to let them know some of these things that you just said.
Okay.
So I would work with them and try to schedule a meeting to set a town hall meeting so they can hear themselves, just coming from nobody else.
sure.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're quite welcome. If you will, wait until after we
Right,
attend the
right.
workshop. So, there's always the possibility that something new comes along. And, we're in a new administration, and we are seeing changes. So let me attend that workshop so that we can give them the latest and the greatest. And I look forward to doing this project. It is very worthwhile, very much needed. So, and it is in conjunction with some work that is going on at the Lagoon just down the road. So,
I'll keep it Edward, and Edward, I'll go off Edward League, or Edward be closer to you now. It's just a matching from and go with this,
Oh, the city,
Yes.
yeah.
where it coming from.
It's coming from water and sewer. That's part of our bonds. We have bonds that will support it, so.
it's a highly competitive application process. And in order to be competitive, first of all, you have to match it at least 10%. The state of Mississippi is not going to give you that kind of money without some buy-in. And in order to make it more competitive, you've got to match it almost dollar for dollar to gain enough points in that particular category so that your application will score high enough to get funded. When I said that the state has 24 to 25 million. They split that in half between public facilities and economic development. So really, you competed for about $12 million. So that, to me, speaks well for the city's efforts.
I also want to give you kudos because you put these applications together. And so without a good application, we would not have gotten all these CDBG grants that we've gotten over the years. And so that rests on your doorstep, and for that, we're very, very grateful.
Well, it's been my pleasure. I appreciate the city giving me the opportunity as job security for me, but at the same time, I can put my head on the pillow at night knowing that I've done something to improve the quality of life for people in this area, and that's important to me. So I've been out there as well as you have, Alderman Vaughn, and it's a collaborative effort. We all work together on this to get it funded, but if you've been out there and you've seen their situation, they deserve to have something better.
I've seen the tears.
So, anyway, that's our goal. We're not setting the world on fire, we're not curing cancer, but we are doing something to improve their quality of life, and that is the mission. Thank you.
Anything else?
No, it's
Okay. All right. Edwin, you have a presentation you want to make?
Yes, ma'am. I just have a recap of all the grant-funded projects. Of course, the CDBG will be one, and I also wanted to brief the board on a recent application that we made to Congressman Guest for some community funding as well. This is, the mayor asked us to just kind of compile a list of all our ongoing grant projects, and we tried to include those here. As you can see, quite a number of grants. Phyllis is helping us with a number of these, specifically the CDBG and the ARC funding ones, but we also have some other ones that we're managing as well, and I want to give thanks to Mary Williams, who helps take the lead on a lot of these. On the left-hand side of the screen is all of our wastewater-related projects. On the right-hand side, you can see the water. There's just not as many water funding opportunities out there right now. But we continue to do those. I was going to go through each of the ones that are indicated in black in just a second and give you an overview on each one, but I did want to highlight on this slide the two that are indicated in blue, and those are the recent applications that we made to Congressman Guest's office last week for the community funding. On the wastewater side, we got an application in for $4 million for wastewater collection improvements. Those will be around in the community. That would be gravity sewer lines as well as lift station improvements. And those are in addition, or alongside the recent WERDA authorization that we got from Army Corps of Engineers. So it would be to fund that program. And then on the water side is to ask funding for well number 10. We're in design for well number 9. We hope to have that online by the end of this calendar year. Well 10 was also indicated in our overall water evaluation that we will need in the next several years. Both of these projects are projects we think that we will probably not see the full application and the funding and construction started for a 3 to 5 year time frame. So we feel like both of these line up well for that. So you can see both of those, $4 million for wastewater and $2.5 million for well number 10.
And just to let you know, I'm giving my opportunity to give some kudos to both Edward's team and Cody's team. We got the notice to meet with Congressman Guest on Friday of our last work session, and then they had to have this turned around and to them by the next Friday. So it was just a 5-day turnaround. So these guys worked overtime to make sure that we had good applications. And I'm due to go to Washington in April to highlight these items for our legislators to take a look at and make sure that we're getting hopefully a positive result from these applications. So just FYI.
First project is our wastewater aerator and electrical rehab project. This project's about halfway through. Some of these photos are actually from this morning from a drone shot. You can see ditch 1 there on the top is completely drained. We've been working on the construction of the piers, the concrete that's going to support the new aeration system. And then the bottom photograph on the right is our new electrical building pad, and you can see that the generator and transformer are already installed there. This is a big, our first major project at the wastewater plant, over $10 million. We had about $700,000 of that was from the leftover Stark Hospital Extension Road money, the $700,000. We had about $2.25 from ARPA with a $2.25 match from MCWI. So essentially about half funded through some type of external funding. Y'all obviously know a lot about this because we've been talking about this for several years. You can see the photos at the bottom just show the extent of the electrical that's needed for the plant, the duct bank there, and then some additional photos. So we're still on schedule for that to be completed in the fall of this year. Had a progress meeting on it yesterday, and that schedule may actually move up to the end of summer of 2026. So we're trying to push that as much as we can. Our influent lift station project, this is one that Phyllis has helped us with through ARC. That project is underway. We've gone through quite a long, lengthy design period on that because there was a lot of requirements for Buy America that kind of got us hung up for a period of time. A $720,000 grant with an $850,000 match. A great project for us. Includes the replacement of some pumps that are badly needed, some valving that's going to help our operators, renovation of our wet well to extend the life of it, and then also provide us a much more robust bypass connection for the times when we need to take the station down. So we'll have this project done according to our schedule in the next 3 to 5 months. And it's progressing well. Same contractor, by the way, who's doing aerator is also doing influence, so there's some synergy there. Stark Road, another project Phyllis is helping us with. We were awarded this project probably about 1.5 years ago, and it's taken us quite a while to go through the environmental process. We just got approval of that earlier this year, and now have moved on into the full application stage. We got a $750,000 grant for this. It's going to require about a $950,000 match to do the full project, and this is a replacement of a force main along the entire length of Stark Road from 182 to Highway 12. That's original, and it's in need of a replacement. We usually have a break over there at least about once a year or so. Major transmission line that basically transmits the wastewater from the north part of town to the south part where our wastewater treatment plant is. So hoping to have this one design going. Actually on this agenda we have the approval for Clearwater Consultants, a local engineering firm, to do the design and hope to start construction on this next year. The Josie Creek lift station, this is one of the major stations that actually feeds into the Stark Road force main. We are proposing to move this station, which is currently on private property in an easement, onto the north west corner of Osita's property at North Star Park. This would also upgrade the station there to allow for future flow. And so we estimated that to be about $2.7 million. We have some MDA funding that was left over from the park that has been allocated, about $700,000, and we're procuring the final amount of funding there. So we're about 30% through with design on this, and we anticipate having this done about the same time that we have phase 2 of the aerator of the wastewater treatment plant done, which is around summer or fall of 2027. But this will be a great project just to allow for future economic development growth in that area, as well as growth of the north part of town. Henderson to Sand Road, we just went over that pretty extensively. Just wanted to highlight our local funding amount that Alderman Vaughn had asked about. $590,000 will come out of water and sewer capital improvement funds to make this project. We're anticipating we'll have a full timeline for you, Alderman Vaughn, when we have our town hall meeting. As we know the new requirements that are going to be coming from CDBG, we'll be able to put together a concept on that. But right now, we feel like it's feasible that we'll start construction in 2027. Yes, sir.
How long is construction timeline anticipated?
I would say we should be able to complete this in 6 to 9 months, would be my guess.
That was my question.
Sure.
What part of 27 will it begin, Ms. Kemp?
We'll have to coordinate with Ms. Phyllis. That's a great question. I'm not exactly sure.
Could you get that answer to the mayor so she can let us know?
Yes, sir. I think we'll have a better idea after we
I
go through
think after we go through the workshop, we'll have a better idea. a lot of the regulations at the federal level are changing, and it's just going to depend upon how long it takes to work through those. The MDA was particularly concerned about the 16th section property, and that's why they, even before it was awarded, they had me pulling deeds, and they've reviewed them all, and we're working, like I said, with the school district. In the past, that has been a hang-up with HUD-funded projects, and the Bureau Director has seen this area. She happened to be in town one day, so I said, well, if you've got just a few more minutes, let's go look at a potential project. I've taken her down Sand Road and Henderson Road, and she agrees that she feels as though it was a worthy project, and but she is concerned about that 16th section lease, and it's slowing down the project. So we're going to have to stay with it and be very diligent. So I'm going to charge you with the responsibility of calling me continuously.
We will.
And it was known by Dr. Timmy Bond, he left on the corner, he was trying to straighten all the 16th section project out. After he left, I don't know what they had, and I'm with you now. I heard this when he left, but he was working on the project.
We'll definitely get more information.
It's a team effort, and if you will, just help me stay on track. Thank you.
Great project, though. We also were awarded from Congressman Guest, we were notified this here in the last month or so, about a $1.5 million grant for the wastewater treatment plant. The exact project of this is still kind of being coalesced out. Again, this will be a project that it takes a while to go through the federal regulation requirements, but this will be through EPA and specifically the STAG program. So we're looking at a project probably in the 3 to 5 year range of when it actually will be constructed and completed. But obviously a lot of needs at the plant, we'll be able to find a project to complete that with. And it does require a $300,000 match. Bluefield, this was another project that we received from Congressman Guest. This was the first one we actually got in the STAG grant. And this was one of the first projects that actually went through the STAG process. So it's been a learning process for not only us, but also for EPA, who's administering the project. This is a $1.9 million grant. The purpose was to improve and consolidate some of the main water lines out in the Bluefield area. So this is the map that we actually put together for them, probably about in 2022, 2023, when we actually made the initial request.
And if you recall, this is the one that we share with the county.
Yes, that's right.
They actually were the front.
They are. They were the awardee, but have kind of transferred the project to us. Yes, ma'am.
Will this include the main off New Light?
We are going to make those $1.9 million stretch as far as we can, primarily focusing on the main lines first and then going to the secondaries first. So you can see the New Light Road. This map is actually turned. So Bluefield Road is at the bottom, and then New Light Road is shown there in the blue one. So everything initially intended, but again, back in 2022, when we put together the cost estimate, I think we asked for over $4 million and we were awarded 1.9. So we will certainly try to make those go as far as we can with the highest need. And New Light is one that we're having a lot of breaks on. So I feel like it's going to rise up pretty high in the priority list. We haven't even really started the design on this one though yet. So that's we're currently been accepted to submit an application. So that's kind of where we are with that one. So just to recap, and total projects that we're currently working through is grant funded in some form or fashion is over $20 million with a almost $8 million match. And if you take out the first project, which is the aerator project, those are what we would consider typical grant funded projects, the CDBGs, the STAG. We're essentially getting 75 cents for every 25 cents we use. So essentially we're getting a project for 25 cents on the dollar. A good investment of time, a good wise use of the ratepayer funds in my opinion. And we will continue to try to do that to make these dollars stretch as far as we can. So that's all I had, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And just to tag to your your presentation, we have a request, obviously, to the state legislature. I have no idea if they're going to be funding any projects this year. They did not last year. But if they do, these are priority projects for them to be helping us with. So I'm hopeful that they will come to the table this time around. So we'll see. Cody?
Yes, ma'am. Anybody have them? Good morning. These are the projects the engineering department submitted for CPF. This is not an all-inclusive list of our grants. This is just the ones we put in last week. But if there are questions about anything else we're working on, we can answer those. So the first project we put in for is the old West Point Road Bridge. This is, if you look at the red circle, this is just north of Garrett and northwest of the Dodge dealership. This was called to our attention last year during the rain events. And when we investigated the bridge, the wing wall, which is what you see here on the right side, had fallen off of the bridge. So it was going to be a fairly expensive repair, and I didn't feel good about making that repair until I knew the bridge was good to begin with. So we had a bridge assessment completed, and what the bridge assessment found is that the steel piles, which is what you see on the right-hand side, that's what supports the bridge, by the way. It holds the road up. Those have lost about 30% of their section, which means we are imminently in danger of having to load rate the bridge that would impact school buses, garbage trucks, vehicles to the landfill. And so it's a project that needs to be completed fairly quickly. You will see on the left-hand side it had jeopardized the road. Mr. Black with the street department has stabilized this, so we're safe, but we do need to take the bridge seriously. So we have applied for this as part of our grant, CPF funding, and this is where we are. We have completed preliminary design and the bridge analysis that's done. I will be bringing before the board in the next few weeks the final design and then all of the FEMA permitting that goes with this. And then what we asked for from the federal, or from Congressman Guest, the CPF funding, is the construction and construction engineering and inspection. So this is an 80-20 funding source. It will effectively remove the bridge, install a box culvert, which is much reduces the maintenance long term, and provide the inspection and testing. That's estimated to be $1.25 million. And so if you break that math down, 80-20, that's $1 million request to the CPF funds, a $250,000 local match. And if you combine that with what we have already obligated to date, that's a local total expenditure of $370,000. And so we get a $1.3 million bridge for about $370,000 if it hits.
And just to circle back around time-wise, you estimate that there's about, these grants have a timeline that you can get, results from them, and it's generally about 2 years. And that's what we were estimating, that this bridge would serve us for hopefully another 2 years at the very least.
Yeah, 3 to 5, probably in the best case. And so one of the things that makes the grant a lot more appealing to the people that are reviewing it is if you have shovel-ready plans. And so that's why we've made the effort to go ahead and start the design now. Greatly increases our chances of success. Okay.
How often do we inspect that bridge?
Anytime we get something like this, there's a few of these in town, I put it on the calendar for a quarterly check-in. So we go by every 3 months. If we've had heavy rains, we'll try to do that more frequently. Yes, sir. So this all came about actually last June, whenever we had, I believe it was June, when we had the Garrett Road ditch failure, the emergency repair, Pat Station. We found this out all at the same time. So we've been working diligently since then to get started. Any other questions on that one? Okay. The second and last project we applied for is the North Downtown Revitalization. So this is the quadrant of North Downtown, is what you're looking at. And this is a very current view. You have 182 up here on the top, to the construction phase. You have Main Street here at the bottom. They're working here in front of the cafe. And so when I look at this image, what I see is we're about 55% done with the build project. We're around 44, 45% done with Main Street. And so within a year and a half or so, we're going to have 2 really nice streets. And so the next thing I think of naturally is everything in between. So that's Dr. Douglas L. Connor Drive, Lafayette Street, and Jackson Street. And I don't know if any of you have walked down here on these streets recently, but they're not great. They're not in great condition. We have a lot of the overhead electric. We have utilities that are in poor shape. you see here in the middle what's serving as a sidewalk for our people walking. And so, in my mind, we will have two of the best streets in town connected by some of our, less desirable streets. And so I think the natural step is to take a stab at trying to make the entire area better. This not only provides a better experience between the two streets, but it helps with some of that infill development that we've missed downtown, some of that commercial development. And so what we have done is we have enumerated these projects. It's Dr. Douglas L. Connor, Lafayette, Jackson, and Jefferson. And if we were to snap our fingers tomorrow and fund all these, it's around $10.5 million. That's the effort, which is a pretty big bite. So what we have applied for is a CPF request that would effectively reach out for two of these projects and treat this as a phased approach. And so it's a request of $4 million with the local match. And here's what I'd say about the local match. If you go back to the old West Point Road Bridge, that project is built into the capital improvement funding. We have that money dedicated to spend it entirely by itself. If we get that grant, I will be able to put $1 million back in the bank account because that's what we asked for. And then that $1 million would pay for this match. And the way these grants work is they ask you to prioritize the importance. So we put Old West Point Road Bridge first. So there's no scenario where I get this grant and have not gotten the Old West Point Road grant, which effectively would pay for the match for this project. So that's the way we've set these up to be successful. And that's really the summary of what the engineering department is applied for. So any questions?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Engineer, what is the specific plan for Dr. Douglas L. Connor Drive, the $2.6 million? What do you propose?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry I didn't mention that. So for each of these streets, including that road, this is a complete overhaul. It's similar to what was done on the Build project in Main Street. That's new water, wastewater, stormwater. It brings the electric underground. So all of your utilities are taken care of. And then you wind up with the streetscape, which is your ADA sidewalks, curb extensions, new parking, things of that nature.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And as you know, I think we've all kind of mentioned it, that we've got a lot of investment is starting to happen in that particular set of blocks. And so I think that what we wanted to have happen with 182 and with Main Street is beginning to happen, which is that people are looking at investing in those areas in a positive way. So I think it's appropriate for us to at least look at the future and what we can make this entire area be as part of our central business district. So as usual, the engineering department has a lot of design ideas, and they, if I could snap my fingers and make it happen, it'd be amazing. So, any other questions of Mr. Burnett? No? All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. I think it's always good for us to know kind of where we are on that. And also, Joanna keeps a running list of our C grants, and I asked her to provide that to y'all, just so you'll have it and see what we've got, see what all we've got going. And a good understanding of why a grant person is very helpful in this process. All right, and we can move to our agenda items. First, we have 2 sets of minutes. Are those prepared to go? Everybody happy? Mr. Huskisson, will we just consent for those? Okay. And then I'll try to remember to say something about Good Friday and pick up and all that sort of business on Tuesday. So if there's anything anybody wants, we have introductions too, do we not? We do have introductions.
And we have the Starkville High School basketball parade next Thursday.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
Exchange.
Thank you for bringing that up because I had forgotten. Okay, so I got a call Tuesday, I guess it was. Dr. McGee said that there is a coach and a couple of players who would be unable to attend.
Okay.
And so they have decided to change the day. I do not have an alternate date.
Okay, thank
But
you.
as soon as we do, we will put that out there but Dr. McGee said he's gonna make sure everybody's able to attend on a date that they choose. So we just will be sitting on go. Okay.
She sent it to you too.
So, yeah, we won't be talking about that, other than to say it's been postponed since I was so quick to announce it had been going on, or that we had plans for it, so. All right, no public appearances, and we have our first public hearing on the synthetic crayon and crayon products and the determination of if we do, what we do with that. And so I have not made any changes to the ordinance that I had drafted as a proposed ordinance. I have dropped all of the emails that I've received, and I've received some from Alderman Sistrom. She sent me some. And so we put them all in a packet for people to look at. There's some that say, you know, ban it. There's some that say ban the synthetic stuff, not the natural stuff. So I think we need to parse our way through that. And as a part of those discussions and the opportunity to talk about it more, I decided not to mess with the ordinance as it was originally drafted until we had some of that feedback. And so we will have hopefully a board discussion as well as listen to public comments, and then I'll make some changes based on what we hear and what I hear from the board as we move forward. So obviously not a up or down thing. It's a public hearing. So anyway, we'll have our first one. And the next one is the 21-1911, which is going to be a public hearing, obviously, on location down on Lafayette Street, which is the big purple building. It is in such a state of cleanliness and safety, actually, that you'll be able to see pictures and things associated with that in the packet. But that one will be a public hearing. And then we have special exception, Mr. McCaskey. Mr. Havlin is also celebrating his anniversary, so we don't let Mr. McCaskey.
Yes, which special exception are we having?
This is the 26-04.
2604, okay, so this one's for 24 Lindbergh, so there is an existing structure behind the house that they're essentially looking just to add on additional space. They're not actually adding any additional bedrooms. This was pre-existing our current code. So when they came to us, we basically noticed that they needed to have the special exception for the accessory dwelling unit and for that addition. So they were voted unanimously by the Planning and Zoning Commission for approval. Any questions?
Any questions about that? Obviously, a public hearing, so we won't be taking any suggestions. Okay, and then the next one is the 2605.
2605, okay, so that one's going to be for 760 Eastleigh Boulevard. This one actually is an accessory dwelling unit. It's actually still inside of the existing footprint of the structure. It's in they live on a hill, so it's on the basement. They essentially were doing modifications to the home, and during their building permit, we noticed that they'd rather have to add in a stairway to this addition that's underneath the house to rather have it a part of the home for internal circulation. They didn't want to do that because of cost and other reasons. So essentially they have to get the ADU, or accessory dwelling unit, so that way, since it's a separate space, that can exist. The Planning and Zoning Commission did unanimously vote for approval.
Okay. And then the next one is 2606.
All right, that one's for Ware Street. So this is just over here where they did the duplex before. This is for 2 more lots. One lot, each lot will have 1 additional duplex on it. So in total, there will be, with the previous exception, 3 duplexes, 3 lots. And it's just approval of the use. The site plan, I know that came before the board before, was modified for it. So I think the one that's already been approved is now 2 stories, and I believe we've gotten that one completed all the way up to the point of the fire sprinkling system requirements of the fire department.
Okay.
But unanimous approval.
Use of that property.
Yes, but unanimous approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, all right, thank you. And last but not least, we've got a UD.
Yes. So this one is for Globe, and that one is for the warehousing, distribution, and wholesale. The use exception basically being that essentially if they were to ever transfer ownership or ever leave the site, it no longer is allowed to exist. But it's just to basically sort of expand within the initial inside footprint of the existing structure, their already existing operation of warehousing and distribution for the Globe.
And that was,
Unanimously approved by the, recommended for approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
all right, cool. Thank you. Any questions, Mr. McCaskey, about any of those? Okay, well, we'll look forward to seeing those on Tuesday. And moving to mayor's business, I have not received any feedback regarding the adoption of the Parks Master Plan, and so I thought it was time for us to take action on it one way or the other. Do I have any issues with it that would preclude consent? Will you consent for that one? Okay. And then a grant agreement with MDA for the Henderson Sand Road CDBG grant project. Consent for that one? Okay. And then under board business, we have discussion consideration of advertising for requests for qualifications for professional legal services for the city of Starkville. Vice Mayor, do you have anything you want to add to this at this point in time?
Not today.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And then we have consideration of a resolution, sale and award of the $15 million general obligation public improvement bonds for streets and related improvements. Is it for that one? All right. Under the airport, we have MDOT grant. Mr. Lincoln, anything you'd like to add to that?
The total local matching funds is 9.2%, 45,000. The city's portion of that's 15,000 towards the 542. And this is for a dual corporate hangar to house 2 jets,
Okay,
which will push the jet fuel sales up also.
that'd be lovely as well. So I like seeing them come in and want to use our field. That's a good thing. Consent for that. Okay. No, they had your list, Joanne. And then we've got, Mr. McKenzie back up again. This is an LW 2601 landscape.
Yes, this is the landscape waiver for 48-inch maple, and this is at 701 Louisville Street at the intersection of Mississippi Highway 12 and Louisville, where they're basically looking to put a car wash. But essentially, this tree is located in the one area where they're able to put the drive in to meet the grade requirements for the fire department, not exceeding their 7%. They can't do access off of Highway 12 because MDOT controls access. I'll let the city engineer speak if I'm saying anything wrong. But essentially, this is where the drive has to be, and for that drive to be located there and meet the fire department's requirements, this tree would have to go.
And did the landscape advisory board provide any feedback on replacing the tree?
So not necessarily, just because in our code, we basically require them to pretty much put in more trees than what they already have. So there, where that tree is, I think there's like 8 more trees going, but that is a strict code requirement, not even necessarily I'm making up for it.
Okay, all right, I just wondered.
But they did vote unanimously to approve after spending quite a while scratching their head if there was an alternative
Okay.
regarding the tree.
Okay, so can we consent for that?
Man, hold that.
I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Well,
I-
unfortunately, so I don't think there's an alternative, or else it'd
Well,
be.
I still want to think about it.
Okay, all right, well, we'll leave it on.
And I think what they're 30, if I'm not mistaken, over 30 trees on that, but there's only 2 that are an issue? Or 13 of
Yes.
them, but 2 over 48?
Yeah, there's 58 that are protected on the site, which 13 are proposed for removal. And that site's actually fairly large as it goes back and down the side. So part of that is actually where their detention area is located in the back of the lot. But
All right, engineering, Mr. Burnett.
Yes, ma'am. The first one is a summary change order. This is to pay for about a 10% overage on this project. This is the entrance there, Aldermen District, your ward to Benton Brook, where there's a drainage issue, so this pays our bills.
Okay, all right, consent for that.
And then it's the same thing for the next board item for the South Jackson Street. This was an 88 complaint there near Domino's, and so we fixed it slightly over the thought amount, and so this pays the contractor.
Consent for that, okay.
Number- Yes, ma'am. This is actually Chris Williams' handiwork, as was the downtown project I talked about. This is to do a survey of the block I showed the board from Dr. Douglas L. Connor over to Jackson, and it's locating utilities. It's an existing condition topo survey, and it also gets the boundaries, which is fairly important as far as land acquisition and development. So it's a really good step forward for not too much money.
Yeah, and that also allows us to take a look at what's back there in terms of the quantum of that and also all of that
Yes.
business have been there for improvement for the year.
That's right. Thank you for mentioning that.
Consent for that one? Okay.
And then the last one is for a bus stop. We do a couple of these a year in partnership with Mr. Dumas and Transit. This is near Sudeth School. It's on Montgomery Street. We've called it the Sudeth Stop. He mentioned to us there's a natural and high need for a stop there. It's near the children and things of that nature. So this will build a bus stop there at the corner.
And this is not a shelter, this is just the bus stop.
I believe it is sized for a shelter.
It's sized for
But
it,
we
but it
will-
doesn't include the shelter. Those come from the transit
Okay, but
authority.
they don't have a decision on that one yet.
They haven't, but it's done to where it's big enough to if they want to put one there, we've got the spot. Right now, what we've been doing is putting benches, trash cans, bike racks,
Right.
but it's room enough that if they want to put a structure, they can.
Okay, all right, thank you. Consent for that one? Okay. And then we'll skip the claim stop, this would be, we've got financials, consent for those, you can see now soon. And then, they discovered, C-Clerk discovered that there is a need for us to, monthly, acknowledge the privilege licenses. And so we will be seeing that going forward, but consent for that one for the time being for the months of January and February. Okay? And then HR, we have, these are replacement folks. Okay, so, we have sanitation worker, we have, two sanitation workers. One is, what are both sanitation one? Did we not put them together? Okay, doesn't matter. Consent for those? Consent, okay. And then, police officer for the academy, consent for that one. And let's see, dispatcher part-time, and then full-time, consent for that. Let's see, 2 interns, this is student metering and billing for the utilities department, and these are not the high school, right?
These are college
Right,
students.
okay, all right. Consent for those two, okay? And then engineering co-op, which we have had incredible luck with our engineering co-ops. They've been a huge help to us, so consent for that one. All right, and then the work-based learning, this is for the student, high school juniors and seniors. This is a wonderful program, so consent for that one. All right. Tracy, I should let you talk about all this. Losing my voice again. And then yearly renewal of the Chronos support services. Consent for that one. All right, IT, Joel, I'm gonna let you go.
Yes, ma'am. We've got the purchase of the final 10 cameras. This is the capstone to our 2-year police camera deployment project. So we're excited to receive these 10 cameras and get those deployed. And then we have a yearly renewal for some software. And this is the time of year where we do our renewals. So this is a piece of software that's integral to our operations, and just renewing that.
Okay, can we consent for both of those? All right, thank you. And then under parks, Chris, you want to take this one?
So this is to lay out our south main loop and for the Arboretum project. So what this does is it'll make it where we're laying out the loop, then we'll take our contract that we have for our forestry mowing, along with utilities has some right of ways through there as well. And so this summer, whenever it dries out, we'll be able to forestry mow our trail in and be able to start working on our trails.
Okay. We're getting some really good PR, both directed from us and to us about the No Mow March. That's been really good, so I'm excited to see that people are being receptive to that.
Had a headache, let's just say that.
Okay. All right, police, we've got Chief D here. Oh, AC, there you are, okay.
That's not good.
You want to talk about this is the replacement vehicle that we didn't get because we missed out on it, is that correct? Okay, so this would be the vehicle that we approved last time, but unfortunately we missed out on it because someone else had made the purchase. So this is a replacement for that one, so consent for that one. And then auto sales for remanufactured engine. Consent for that one. All right, thank you. And then utilities, Edward,
Yes, ma'am. First item is to just replace 2 electronic butterfly valves at our Montgomery plant. These are the last 2 remaining older air control valves with electronic valves. So standardization we're trying to do across all the plants.
Okay, consent for that one. All right.
Item 2 is purchase of our additional cost for the well motor for Curry Street. This is with the vendor who currently has our motor and has been assessing it along with our pumps. And so he's proposing to do this, and it was very difficult to get a second quote since he had the motor broken apart. So they would have to reassemble, transport it to another vendor to get a quote. So we're proposing to use the same vendor who's going to be installing it all back together at Curry.
Okay, and Joanna, that means with the state statute appropriate. All right.
Can I ask him a question?
Sure.
Edward, I got a question. So I'm assuming Parks is the one that took it apart to assess it, right?
Yes.
Do we have to get a second quote with that? You would think that when they took it apart, and they wanted to rebuild it, so is that something we have to go and advertise a second quote for? That's just not.
Procurement requirements of any purchase over $5,000 requires 2 quotes. It is very difficult with pumps. We encounter this a lot with wastewater pumps too. Large pumps, we'll go and send it off. They'll break it apart, do a full assessment, and they'll say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is how much it's going to cost. We have done emergency purchases in that instance because then in order for somebody else to assess it, you have to put it all back together, send it to the other vendor, then go through the same exercise. And really more than anything, it's a time saver.
That's what I was just
Yeah.
gonna say, the need for it,
Yeah.
by having to go through that.
There is that Mississippi State statute that's referenced there does allow for provisions for utilities to do that out of need for time.
It'd be nice if they raised that.
It would be.
threshold.
Yes, it would be.
Well, I think they were planning 2 to 10, weren't they?
Yeah, I have no idea if they've done it or not.
Still wouldn't help us in this
Consent for
situation.
that one?
Item 3 is to purchase 2 booster pumps. These would work at either Airport or Bluefield. We have one pump that's currently down, and the second one would be a backup that we could use to have on standby.
Consent for that one? Okay.
Item 4 is the lowest and best bid for, we advertised for a used bucket truck, digger derrick truck for the electric division. The primary motivation to go with a used one was out of time, because to purchase a new one is a 2 to 3 year lead time from when you make the order to when you get it delivered. So we were able to get one that met our specifications, and actually was we think is a cheaper price than if we were buying it new. So we feel good about it and recommend to proceed with that.
It has a decent life left over, you said?
Yes, ma'am. It's a 2026 model.
It's a 2026?
Yes, ma'am.
Was it back in circulation?
This global rental, they have basically a standing order with Alltech, and they buy so many per year, and they rent them out to utility companies or.
Short periods and.
Right. So they essentially have they'll probably order 10 units this year, and so they put those orders in way back, so.
Consent for that one?
Item 5 is to what I was referencing earlier about the Stark Road engineering design. Clearwater Consultants help us put together the preliminary engineering report. We're to the point where we're ready to engage with that consultant, so we're recommended to proceed with them.
Consent for that one? And last but not least.
And the last is some networking equipment that's needed for our SCADA, water treatment SCADA system. A low quote
Is it
from-
failed or is it just?
These are actually going to be upgrades. Right now, we're doing our communication on water is through radio signal, and so this will upgrade it to fiber connection.
Consent for that one? All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to me. I know it's been a long time.
Yes, sir.
Really good stuff.
We do too, bud. All of the wrong.
Been a lot of activity, we got that big tree on Louisville Street too, with dropping homes everywhere. All right, well, thank you everyone, that concludes our work session, and we look forward to having a good weekend, and seeing everybody on Tuesday.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor?